You think I'm evil? I am justice. I protect the innocent and those who fear evil. I'm the one that will become God of a new world that everyone desires. And all those who oppose God, they are the ones who are truly evil. Hello and welcome to Death Note 101, the series that breaks down everyone and everything in the Death Note world. Today we're going to be taking a look at the brilliant high school student / mass murderer, self-proclaimed god, and series protagonist all wrapped into one neat little package, Light Yagami. Light Yagami is a hardworking and extremely intelligent high school student who wished to use his natural gifts to fight evil in the world by becoming a police officer, just like his father Soichiro. To reflect his mental maturity, Light dresses in very formal clothing such as school uniforms, suits, and acts very kindly and respectfully towards those who are close to him. These features went on to earn him a lot of admiration from teachers, other students, and of course, his family. However, another attribute Light would develop was a particularly potent sense of justice, a feeling that would grow so strong that it would come to affect Light's whole life as well as the entire world, when he just so happened to find a notebook that fell from the sky. This item was of course the titular Death Note, and it contained the instructions that anyone whose name was written in it and whose face the writer knows shall die. Now, Light, being a man of rationality, dismissed this as nonsense at first, but curiosity would eventually get the better of him, and when he discovered that the Death Note does indeed work, he rather quickly decided to use it in order to clear the world of those who he considers evil, actively pursuing his own personal brand of justice. And after writing dozens of names into the Death Note, and thus killing dozens of people, Light encountered the Shinigami Ryuk, who explained the notebook's rules to him in more detail, such as the fact that one can control the actions of the people whose names are written in it before ultimately killing them. And armed with this new information and a funky Shinigami companion, Light set out on a new mission, thinking of it as the ultimate act of sacrifice for the good of humanity, and he continued to kill criminals, going on to develop a legendary persona amongst the media who labeled this mysterious murderer as Kira. However, these actions would soon be noticed by the international police, as well as by the legendary detective known as L. In order to commence the hunt for Kira, L concocted a plan to bait the murderer out using a public broadcast system that would be played in individual regions of Japan. And due to a newfound sense of arrogance, Light would fall for this ploy and allow L to discover that Kira was based in the Kanto region. As a result of being bested on this occasion, Light began viewing L as a rival of sorts, the person who he must overcome before he could truly start crafting his utopia. And from this point forward, we as an audience were blessed with witnessing one of the greatest cat and mouse games in the history of entertainment. There is no doubt that if it were anyone of even slightly lesser intelligence, they would have been caught by L in no time. However, as a natural genius, Light displayed an incredible amount of ingenuity, calmness, and supreme foresight in regards to the actions of his opponents, often resulting in his overwhelming victory. So for example, Light was successfully able to deal with 12 FBI agents that were sent to Japan in order to locate and capture Kira, and he did so by manipulating one agent by the name of Ray Penba into writing down all of the other agents' names onto a page of the Death Note, thus resulting in their demise before Light proceeded to kill Ray himself. Although Light's victories were not without consequences, and in this case this led to some future problems as Penba's fiancée, Naomi Misora, started to look into the Kira case herself, and while Light managed to deal with her as well, it does lead L to setting his sights on Light. At this point, the mental battle between Light and L became significantly more intense, as L embarked on a gambit of revealing his identity to Light and inviting him to join the task force designed to capture Kira. And thinking that it would give him a chance to figure out a way to kill L, Light accepted this proposal. The battle didn't just remain between Light and L though, as it was soon revealed that there was another person using a Death Note to kill people. The second Kira, as she became known, was a 19-year-old model and actress named Misa Amane, with whom Light saw a use due to her possessing the Shinigami eyes, meaning that she had made a deal to exchange half of her lifespan for the eyes of a Shinigami, which can see people's true names just by looking at their face. It should also be noted that Light had the opportunity to pursue this deal with Ryuk, however he came to the conclusion that half his lifespan was far too high a price to pay. And so Light began incorporating Misa into his plans, during which two things would become apparent. One was that Misa was in love with Light, and two is that Light is kind of a dick. Well, I mean, on top of being a mass murderer with a god complex, he went on to blatantly use Misa for his own personal gain, and even planned on simply killing her if she were to become useless. However, because L is L, it didn't take long for him to figure out who the second Kira was, leading to Misa's swift capture, which put Light under even more suspicion, as L had already theorized that the first and second Kira were in contact with each other. Now, in order to combat this, Light formed a very convoluted but phenomenal plan to have Misa's Shinigami Rem erase their memories of anything to do with the Death Note, and furthermore to provide a man by the name of Kyosuke Higuchi with a Death Note, in order for him to continue the Kira killings while Light and Misa were under intense observation, thus simultaneously creating the third Kira as well as clearing Light and Misa of all suspicion. However, with the self-inflicted amnesia, we would be treated to an entirely different side of Light, as he earnestly put his efforts into hunting down Kira, during which he and L actually became incredibly close colleagues, with Light even providing a great source of moral support and motivation. This Light was just so profoundly different to the one we as the audience knew, showing that were he never to have encountered the Death Note in the first place, he probably would have been a genuinely compassionate and traditionally morally upstanding human being without its corrupting influence. But this wholesome family fun Light would not last long, as combining his intellect with L resulted in Higuchi becoming quickly captured, and following this Light regained his memories upon touching the apprehended Death Note. So with everything having gone all according to Keikaku, Light then implemented the final stage of his grand plan, which saw him manipulating the Shinigami Rem into writing the names of both L and his longtime associate Watari, thus killing them, as well as Rem herself in the process, culminating in Light's complete and utter victory. With his rival successfully dealt with, Light then took over as leader of the task force, all the while continuing his original role as Kira for the next 5 years, managing to gradually reshape the world through his purge of human society. Now, while this may be Light's happy ending, that certainly was not where things came to a conclusion, as eventually two successors of L emerged to hunt down Kira, being Nier and Mello, with the former heading up a new organization known as SPK, or the Special Provision for Kira, while the latter ended up leading an underground mafia group. Quite notably, it should be said that these two groups were not working together, and in fact even violently and fatally opposed each other. Although it was the mafia group led by Mello that was certainly the more volatile, and eventually resulted in Light's younger sister being kidnapped, a situation in which we were once again treated to a rare display of humanity from our protagonist, who was quite distraught and put his all into ridding the world of Mello as quickly as possible. However, on this occasion, Light's overall plan ended in failure, as well as the death of Light's father Soichiro, after which Light sought out the assistance of two individuals, being Mikami Teru and Kiyomi Takada, in order to battle both Nier and Mello. Light gave Mikami a death note, thus making him the fourth Kira, or the ex-Kira as he became known, although this was but a clever ruse, as Light instructed him to make a duplicate of that death note and forward its real pages to Takada, who conducted the actual killings. However, it would be the acquisition of these two parties that would ultimately cause Light's downfall, as Takada would be kidnapped by Mello, and while she did manage to kill him, this event caused Nier's SPK team to discover and put Mikami under surveillance, during which he revealed the location of the real Death Note. And it would be this crucial information that spelt the difference between global domination and complete defeat for Light, as shortly after he and Nier arranged a meeting where Light was planning to kill Nier, the SPK agents, and even the remaining Kira task force members by having Mikami write their names down in what they thought to be the real Death Note. However, it had since been swapped out for a replica, and having Mikami write down everyone's name in the warehouse except for Light himself became the indisputable proof that he was in fact Kira. Forced into a desperate situation, Light proudly admitted to being Kira, and then attempted to write Nier's name on a piece of Death Note that he had concealed within his watch, at which point he was shot by Tota Matsuda, a member of his own task force. And from here, Light's ultimate fate differs depending on whether you were a patron of the anime or the manga. Starting with the manga though, an ever-maddening Light screamed out to his compatriots for help, pleading for Mikami, Takada, whom he had killed by then by the way, Misa, and finally, the Shinigami Ryuk. In response to this, Ryuk then fulfilled the promise he made Light at the beginning of their partnership, and wrote Light's name in his Death Note. And the last thoughts that run through the head of our protagonist's mind in his final few panic seconds on this world is simply that he does not want to die. Now, the anime version of this varies a fair bit, with Light managing to escape the warehouse, even whilst riddled with bullets, and Nier electing not to pursue him for reasons. However, seeing the inevitable fate of his partner, Ryuk similarly writes Light's name down in the Death Note, and as Light passes away, an illusion of his former rival L appears before him, mirroring the scene in which Light succeeded in killing him and bringing Light's story to a close. Some more fun facts about Light. When designing Light's character, Takeshi Obata was given instructions to draw him as a genius high school student. To do this, he had used fashion magazines as a guide in order to figure out what kind of clothes smart people would wear, which is fair enough. I mean, I have no idea what a smart person would wear. I'm clearly not one. In the anime, when we see Light, or any other character for that matter, thinking of something, their hair turns a certain color. This is because Obata wanted the colors to fit the personality of the character in question, and Light's color just so happens to be red, which is commonly associated with traits such as passion, determination, power, anger, and danger. And finally, a truly useless fact. During the course of his life, Light has held a total of 3 different Death Notes, which is one less than the total number of Death Notes introduced in the series. And that pretty much does it for Light Yagami. If you enjoyed this video and the content this channel produced in general, then please do consider donating to the New World Review Patreon, because the support of all of you amazing people is what continues to make this channel possible. And if Patreon isn't quite your style, then please do leave this video a like, share, or subscribe, because it also helps support this channel an incredible amount. And if you'd like to join the fun at any time, then please do head over to my Discord server, where a wide array of shenaniganry takes place on a daily basis. And finally, please do comment with who, what, or where you'd like to see featured in the next Death Note 101. I mean, really, when you think about it, Light is probably one of the most versatile characters in the entire anime world. I mean, just look at his range. You've got Light Yagami, Dark Yagami, Dim Yagami, Neon Yagami, Strobe Light Yagami, Moving Light Yagami, and even Tungsten Yagami. I mean, what a guy.